So we're back for week 3 of 180 Files the Aegis project with author Karelia Hall, and we were going to do chapter. Well, one of us wanted to do chapter 5 last week. The other one of us
The
other one of us is a human being who is tired and does work and stuff. Doesn't live a highfalutin author life. The creative industries are dying. The British government won't support them. Oh, you've gone. Where's your camera gone?
Is it broken again? Can you still hear me?
I can hear you. I can't see your blooming face.
Sorry, my laptop's breaking.
Looking into the room. Oh, this is going well.
It may or may not come back on.
This is because the wheat harvest failed. Okay, let's start with chapter 5, which I think you said is the longest chapter.
Chapter 5. The drone is a sleek black model about 2 feet wide. You've taken several random turns and it's followed the car every one, weaving deftly over and around traffic. Definitely a tale. Best case scenario, it's just to report where you go next. Worst case, whoever's behind it is sending more people to intercept right now. Less than ideal, either way. What to do with it, though? Trying to lose it will be easier, but if you can take it down somehow, it might tell you something about who sent it.
Okay, so we've got some options on my screen that won't go to full skies for some reason. That's okay, I'm not bothered. What skill maps onto these?
First one's Force, second one's Tech, third one is Audacity.
Okay, so we're quite forceful and techy.
Let's do techie.
Okay, we're going to do something to confuse the drone's navigation.
This is actually a sort of tiered success. Like if you have sort of a mid-level stat, then you can still like get away from the drone. But if you have a high-level stat, you can actually catch it.
Is this like a skill challenge?
Yes.
D&D skill challenge. We know those. We know those.
You worked a lot.
Those.
You fail those.
Hey! We fail those.
You worked a lot with UAVs and UCAVs in the army, so you know a thing or two about how they work. That's army talk for drones.
Ah.
If you can mimic its command frequencies, you can send a signal that will put it into automatic shutdown. It'll take some hasty fudging together of components, since you don't have anything for the specific job, but it should be possible. Of course, you also need to drive the car, so it's lucky you have an extra pair of hands. I'm going to need you to help me with something, you say, and quickly explain what you need her to do.
Oh, so this is clearly written with me in mind. Look, every sentence starts with a so, like I talk. Achievement! Wreckage! We've captured the drone.
While you drive in random patterns through the Chicago streets, you and Vicky put together a mess of a device. Your phone for the interface, the torn-out car stereo, and sat-nav for transmission and reception. You're just MacGyvering it here. You think you've isolated the correct frequency. Crossing your fingers, you slide the car into a parking space and activate the device, sending the packet that should kick the drone into shutdown mode. For a moment, the drone hangs in the air and you think maybe it didn't work, but then, quite suddenly, it plummets like a stone. You stop. Oh, you already parked. Whoops. You stop the car, you get out of the car, and hurry over to it. Cracking open the plastic casing, you quickly retrieve the vital parts of its electronic systems. 313 might get some use out of this, perhaps enough to tell you who sent this thing.
Internet points for the first person to email the support about this particular little bug.
I'll do it. You keep going for a while, alert for any further dangers, but it seems that, for now at least, you're out of the woods. Finally, you pull over and park the car. The car's a risk now, so you dump it, keys in the ignition, and walk to the nearest subway station. Beside you, Vicky's breathing in exaggeratedly deep breaths, obviously trying to calm herself. She's been quiet for a while, but now she speaks.
So, what happens now?
Well, we need to find you a new hotel.
Make sure she's okay, says 313, and then with a sigh, and then get rid of her. We need to be able to talk about this properly.
You hum in acknowledgement. Then usher Vicky onwards.
Later.
You're waiting in the lobby of a cheap hotel as Vicky talks to the receptionist to get a room. You gave her the cash to pay with, advising her against paying for anything with a card. Free from immediate peril, your mind turns over the memories of the attack, trying to fit pieces together. 2 attackers in the hotel car park with a knife. Why a knife? If they wanted Vicky dead, why not shoot her? Stabbing will be quieter, you suppose. Less chance someone would raise an alarm, gives the attackers more time to disappear. You'd bet that they planned on making this look like a mugging or a carjacking. Whoever's behind this almost knows what they're doing, but you can see holes in the plan. It's definitely not how a pro would have done it. Vicky returns with a keycard and a wan smile.
Come upstairs. I think we need to talk.
You enter the room before her just to make sure. Bed, drawer, chair, tiny closet of a bathroom. No would-be assassins lurking behind the cheap and chintzy curtains.
Everybody, take a shot every time the camera goes.
Vicky takes a long look at herself in the mirror, running her hands back through dishevelled dark hair. You see her take several deep breaths. Then, straight back, she turns around, perches primly on the edge of the bed and says,
Okay, what the hell just happened? Don't engage, says 313. She's safe for now. Get out of there. Okay, I think we said we were going to romance everyone. So what do we have to do to romance Vicky?
We've got to explain as much as we can. We've got to be rebels.
Rebels. We can burn this place down. Achievement unlocked. The whole truth.
You take a seat in the rickety cane chair by the side of the bed. It creaks under your weight. I'm undercover. I was sent to investigate Atkinson's death.
180, interjects 313 sharply. What are you doing?
You continue, ignoring her. He turned informant on his former employers. Bad people. We thought that might be connected, but it looks like there's also something going on at Hanson, and if they're prepared to go after you like this, it's something big. Vicky is silent for a moment, her eyes searching your face.
You're serious?
You nod.
So what now?
Now, you should get some rest. I'm going to be looking into things some more. We'll see what turns up.
So, you're leaving now? Look at the options. Okay. I'm guessing
The first 2 are both flirt options, but it's a kind of outward flirting versus repressed flirting.
Repressed. Or just, yes, I'm going.
Let's take her hand and squeeze it.
It's going to be fine.
She smiles briefly before pulling her hand away and awkwardly tidying her hair. I'll see you soon, you say, and leave.
That doesn't make me think that she's into it. She's like, no! No!
Well, she's just like, this is a weird situation. You leave the hotel, walking quickly along the street, head down. Even though 313 is quiet, you can almost feel the disapproval radiating out of your earpiece. She waits until you're outside the hotel before speaking.
Agent 180, do you want to explain why you think I'm just giving you suggestions here? You have no way to know that she's not a security risk! So what is the best way to make it up to Agent 313?
This is quite a tough check. If you told Vicky everything, like, you need quite a high stat check here. The just apologizing will give you an automatic drop, but like one that's not. It's higher than if you succeed one of these checks, but it's lower than if you fail these checks. So that's the she almost died is principle. Trying to pacify is pragmatism. Vicky trusts me goes on your Vicky Rel stat, which I think should be fairly good for us. So let's go with that.
Let's have a look.
Does she like us?
We've got Vicky's got 49%.
She loves us.
Oh, Angel is like 5%. Oh, that's a hate fuck. That is.
That doesn't mean Angel hates you. That just means Angel doesn't like care about you. Like they don't even care enough about you to hate you. You're just there.
I guess you have a point, 313 mutters. But don't do that again. Doesn't seem like she trusts you that much, 313 says.
Oh.
Not worth it, 180, she sighs.
Oh, another error.
Oh, we've got more to worry about, she says. I've been checking Atkinson's phone records. The last person to call him before he died, it came from within the Hanson complex. Hercules' office.
So, all roads lead to Rome. You're already dialing the number. Gareth picks up almost immediately. Hi, you say. It's Amy. Sorry to bother you so late, but I'm having a nightmare with my hotel booking. Is there any chance I could get accommodation on site? Oh, really? Thank you. White walls, polished wooden floors, and steel and glass furniture so minimalist as to be skeletal. Even the accommodation at Hanson Technologies has something clinical about it. There's no such thing as too paranoid for someone like you. After Gareth leaves you for the night, you dust a thin coating of talc onto the outside handle of the door. You pop a chair against the door and make sure you have something heavy within reach before you settle down to sleep and turn off the lights. You stare into the darkness, wondering if you're being watched.
Yes.
I had it. I think I explained this more in a earlier version, but like the Hanson offices have these little like accommodation rooms on site because like some of the employees are just there all day.
Yeah, you checked in, but you can never leave. Welcome to the Hotel Hanson Tech. Such a lovely place, such a lovely
It's a bit of a holdover from when it was a creepy Silicon Valley tech company. Like,
I mean, it still is that.
yeah. Oof, got a dream sequence. It's dark. Fastus's lab is gloomy, lit with harsh halogen that lights his tables and terminals and leaves most of the room in even deeper shadow. You see his face, tinted in sickly green from the lights of an instrument panel next to your chair. Hear the glassy clink clink as he taps the syringe with a fingernail. Feel the panic bubbling up in your chest as you try to fight the restraints.
It might help, he says in that gentle voice, if you think of this as advancing the cause of science.
The smile, nightmarish in the harsh light.
I'm thinking of Conrad Velt in The Man Who Smiled. That silent movie that's the inspiration for the Joker. Anyone who does get that will be like, what?
And then the needle slips under your skin and you scream.
Masterful performance from myself.
The pain in your missing hand wakes you up. You lie in bed for a while trying to will it away. Doesn't work. Never does. You sit up, sweat drying on your skin, and grab the prosthetic from the bedside table.
Does that mean that the heavy thing that you had to hand is literally your hand?
No. It wasn't supposed to be. For a moment you just look at your arm, the empty space below the elbow. Fingers that no longer exist burn with remembered agony. You shake yourself and start attaching the prosthetic. Sometimes being able to see something there helps. You swig water from the bottle in your travel bag. You get out of bed and deal with your emotions in a very unhealthy way.
I don't think meditation is an unhealthy way, or doing exercise so that you're not thinking about it. That's not unhealthy. The first two are unhealthy.
If you choose the third one, it's like, no, I can't think. I must be perfect. I must repress the emotions.
Well, we're pragmatic and ambitious. That kind of fits in with us.
Yeah, but that's a really composure one, and we've been quite emotional, so we should probably like punch something.
Punch, punch, punch. Shots. Take a shot. Camera's gone.
Probably shouldn't have used your good hand, but the pain helps balance things out. Cradling your hand, one thought rises above the others. I forget what our ambitions are. What our motivations.
What our motivation? Let's have a look.
Let's
We are very pragmatic and we're very ambitious and questioning and emotional.
Yeah. Justice. Weird.
Are we justice?
Yeah.
A little bit.
I thought we were vengeance. Oh well.
We can be more vengeance.
I just need to get back to my old brilliant self as ambitious.
Super ambitious.
You've always pushed yourself to be the best. So you can't give in to this. You've got to control yourself. Then you'll get back to how you were. Then everything will be fine again. The grey light of pre-dawn creeps into your room. Soon you'll need to get up and get ready for the day ahead. Finally, you go to shower, get dressed, and turn your mind to the rest of your day. You have limited time here, only 3 days, including today. You'll need to prioritise carefully. When you spoke to him on the phone, Gareth did say that if you needed to see him, he'd be in the complex gym early in the morning. It's as good a place as any to start. The complex gym is almost empty at this point in the morning. A bleary-eyed employee silently contemplates the cross-trainer machine. One man in the corner lifts weights in a steady rhythm, and over by the window you see 2 people on the treadmills. Hex looks alert, happy, running with good form. Gareth looks more like he might be regretting his life choices. When he sees you approaching, he slows the machine down, twisting to face you.
Hey, Amy, he pants. Wasn't sure if you'd actually show.
So I want to get some gym time, gives you a boost for Hex, and you're in the gym at 7 a.m, gives you a boost for Gareth. And I didn't mean to interrupt, I think just gives you a small, like a tiny boost for Gareth.
Okay. Who do we want? Who do we want more?
Ooh, show me them stats. Show me them stats.
Fair, I've always ended up in a romance with Gareth, so I haven't actually tried the Hex romance option. And we have slightly higher with Hex.
We do have slightly higher on Hex. Wonder if we can swing it. Okay, let's see. Let's see if we can do this, because this. I wanted to get some gym time.
Because we're quite a fit, sporty person.
Yeah.
Sure, you're free to use whatever you want in here. You've got your pick, adds Hex, gesturing widely around the room. Oh, Hex, this is Amy. We go way back. They flash you a wink. What brings you here so early? She had hotel problems, so I sorted her out a room here. Was everything okay, by the way? Sleep okay?
Yes, thanks, you lie. He brings the machine to a stop and grabs a towel, dabbing sweat from his face.
Don't forget to stretch.
Calls Hex after him as he wanders off to get water. Well, them splitting does give you a better chance to have a proper talk with one of them. So many questions and so little time. If you go in interrogation style, it's bound to be more difficult to get answers without them getting suspicious. Maybe you should make friends first and hope that will make it easier to get what you need later. So basically, the focus on my investigation gives you agency rep, but
And the other option is to flirt with them.
Well, yeah, building relationship gives you more options sort of later on that can lead to better stuff. So it's like get a boost now or get a boost later, basically. Talk to Gareth.
Which one?
But better relationship.
Oh, okay. Because I've always done that route. I've always talked to Gareth.
I was going to try and see if we could get Gareth and Hex. But
Okay. But then should we go with Hex first then? Because I've never seen that.
I think we can swing it with Hex without talking to them here. So let's talk to Gareth.
Okay.
He's sitting on the wide windowsill, swigging water. He's dressed in grey sweatpants and a t-shirt, his black hair in sweat-slicked spikes. It's a different look from the dapper man you met yesterday, and you get the hint from subtle aspects of his body language that he's aware of and somewhat embarrassed by that fact. You sit down beside him.
He makes me think of Craig from Dream Daddy.
I don't think he's not a bro, really.
No, I mean, like, but when he's in his gym stuff, I'm like, that's Craig from Dream Daddy.
Oh.
Okay, what's the best option?
Any of them. This is just sort of.
Yeah, you must have come in early. Wink, wink. I never left, he admits. I'm staying on site too. There's just too much to do.
It's impressive that you still make time for the gym, considering.
Actually, I'm doing this on doctor's orders. Well, kind of. I had some health issues a while ago, and they recommended exercise and a whole load of stuff. Gotta keep up good habits, you know.
Well, it's certainly working for you.
Wink, wink! Thanks. Appropriate response, because they didn't want that. One lady's just been like, wink, wink! Thanks. And you, I mean, you look like the kind of person that, works out. It being so busy at the moment helps, honestly, he adds. Gives the day more structure, you know?
Okay, this is business, personal, thrill, ambition, isn't it? We're ambitious. We're ambitious, so it's good to push yourself.
It's good to push yourself. Push it to the limit, bro.
Especially when you're at a low point, it's better to use that as motivation, right? You say.
With surprise. That's an interesting way of thinking about it. Maybe that is part of it. But, you know, I really want to see the Aegis out in the world. I owe it.
Odd way to put it. You open your mouth to ask more. You're interrupted by the insistent ringing of a phone nearby.
Ring, 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 ring.
He checks the screen and sighs.
Sorry, I've got to hit the shower and get back to work. It was nice talking to you. I'm always around, though. I'm sure we'll catch up again.
Oh, yeah.
Always a pleasure to talk to you. Wink, wink.
Yeah. Always a pleasure to talk to you, I say with meaning.
Hang on. It'd be like, always a pleasure to talk to you. Like that. That's everything. Of course, I'll see you at the party, right?
Party?
You didn't know? There's a cocktail party happening Friday night to celebrate the reveal. That'll be your last night here, right? So? Sorry, I really have to go. I really have to turn my laptop on.
He grabs his gym bag and gives you a hasty wave as he heads off. Now alone, you gaze out of the huge windows across the complex grounds and the glittering buildings. There are 4 main buildings in the complex, including the one you're in right now. The central building with the atrium is where you were yesterday. As far as you can tell, it houses mostly offices. This building, off to the left side of the central hub, contains employee leisure facilities like the gym, as well as the on-site accommodation. From here, you have a good view of the labs, a long block directly behind the central building and connected to it by 2 glass-enclosed walkways. That means entrance is only possible by going through the main building, and as you've seen already, the labs have some serious security. That leaves one building over on the right side of the hub, the only one you haven't visited yet. You'd make a guess at it being where complex security is based. So much to do, so little time. 313 interrupts your musing.
180, still there?
Yeah, just thinking.
Listen, there are a few things I think we should go over in person. Could you drop by the safe house?
It takes you a long time to get back to the safe house. You take the most circuitous route you can think of, doubling back on yourself, getting on and off the subway, doing everything until you're as sure as you can be that you're not being tailed. When you walk into the cramped apartment, 313 gratefully pulls the headset off and tosses it to the desk. You see an image of her on the screen, the feed from your eye cameras. You notice several crumpled cans of energy drink in the trash. Not been sleeping much?
Not much, no. I can't sleep while you're up, and there's a lot to do. Don't worry, I'm used to it. Lots of long shifts in this job.
Said I don't need watching all the time.
Are we being mean to her? Maybe. I don't know. We're telling her a story. We're going to be nice to her.
Tell me about it, you say, sitting down. One time I was tracking an arms dealer and he bolted unexpectedly. It took almost 3 days to chase him down. By the time we caught him, I was practically hearing colours.
If you hear a noise in the background, it's because my cat is chewing his arse again. Very loudly.
So, what did you want to talk about, you said? Something other than cats' asses?
Never! She glances over at the computer. There's something I've been working on that you might find useful, but it's not ready just yet. She twists a braid around her fingers. I've also been looking at the navigation system you tore out that drone. I got a snapshot of the control signal before whoever sent it shut it down, but it looks like they bounced it around. It'll take a while to track back to the source, she says.
313 straightens in her seat. You get a sudden impression of being a school kid in the teacher's office.
Why did you join the IIA? She says after a thoughtful pause and making sure she did the right pronunciation of that.
My background's in my file, isn't it?
Yes. She drums her fingers on the desk. See, I'd have figured that in the army you'd have been used to taking orders, she says.
Raise an eyebrow. What are you getting at?
I'm just wondering, considering you're clearly capable of taking orders, why is it you're intent on not following mine?
What do you reckon?
You know the best ones. I just want to be nice to her. What's the best for keeping a good relationship with her?
It's probably the you're right one.
Okay, let's try it.
I know, like, you seem to be taking this personally as, like, she does not do well with that one.
No. No one likes to be told that. Also, she hasn't, like, she's been up for, like, 3 days straight mainlining Red Bull. Thank you for saying that, replies 313 serious. And I do recognise that you've got some results doing things your way, but I'm not here to look decorative, 180. It's my job to oversee this mission and make sure that you don't get into any more trouble than you can get out of, and to create the report for your assessment.
You nod. You're just like, put the Red Bull down, 313.
Put it down!
The beep of the computer breaks the silence. She returns to the screen.
Ready, she says more to herself than you. So, you know how the computer systems in the complex are locked down? No way for us to access from out here? The more I think about it, the more I think we need to get something inside. I've cooked up this bug, planted on a computer or phone, and it will intercept communications. This too, she adds, holding up the blank flash drive you swiped earlier. I loaded some malware onto here. Leave it lying on someone's desk and they might take the bait. See what opportunities you can find, although the bug isn't risk-free. If they're as good as they seem to be, they'll pick up on the intrusion sooner or later.
You take the flash drive and tiny device. Right. Anything else?
Not for now. I'll let you know when I get the results back on the other stuff.
Then I've got to get back. Busy day ahead. Your cover buys you a few days here, but not as much time as you might like. Consider carefully, what do you want to achieve here? It's Wednesday afternoon. Let us go. And we have the flash drive, so I want to try and talk to Hercules. Hercules is at the centre of all of this, and it seems like he was the last person to speak to Dr. Atkinson before the man drove himself off the bridge. He definitely knows something, but it's not like you can just charge into his office demanding to talk. Hercules' office is on the top floor of the main building and off limits. His PA, however, has a smaller room just off the central atrium. She's a middle-aged woman with curly brown hair, a strong Midwestern accent and a pleasant demeanour, and her responses to your inquiries about possibly getting an interview with the CEO are apologetic but firm.
Okay, Midwestern. Ooh, you've got to understand, Miss Hanson is very busy right now.
Of course, but honestly, if you could fit me in for just 5 minutes, that would be amazing.
She frowns at you, then at the screen. I'm afraid not.
You crane round to try and get a look at the schedule on her screen. Looks like there's a space right there.
No, there's... She trails off. But there was no... She grinds the palm of her hand into her forehead as if suddenly pained.
Are you all right? You ask.
Oh, there's no time. She snaps. She snaps, then quieter but still sounding strained. I'm sorry. Was there anything else? I do have a lot to do.
There's a wrinkle of stress between her brows, a spark of fear in her eyes. Then her expression changes to an almost manic smile aimed at someone behind you.
Not interrupting anything, am I?
One of the twins, his expression schooled to professional blankness.
Hello, Paul. She trills. This lady was just leaving. You betcha.
Apparently you are. You smile brightly at Paul as you walk out.
I kind of hate that this is my first thought, says 313. But you know the flash drive you stole? She could be a good person to plant it with. She seems distracted enough that it might work. Doubt she's got access to the high security stuff, but she'll have records on Hercules' recent comings and goings.
You nod. Makes sense. You could have told me that before Tweedledee showed up, you mutter. Now they'll probably be a lot more suspicious of me wandering by to accidentally drop something. But I've got a drone!
Drone! Achievement unlocked! Planet.
Yay. It's small and light enough for the drone in its larger configuration to carry. You send it along the corridor, keeping tight to the ceiling, and it swoops into the office. When Paul and Hercules' PA are looking away, the drone drops to the floor by the desk, leaving the drive somewhere it could conceivably have been knocked off. It's Wednesday evening. And... Okay, where do we go?
We can see the ill receptionist. We can find out more about the bodyguards. We can find out more about the men who attacked me, although I suspect they may be one and the same, and go visit Vicky.
No, that was... I deliberately made the people who attacked you like a tall guy and a short guy.
I always thought they were the twins. That's how much I noticed stuff.
Visiting Vicky early gives you a more of a relationship boost because you've not just ignored her for days.
Yeah. Well, it is the evening. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. I'm here.
Yeah. Alright, let's go see Vicky. You take your time getting to Vicky's new hotel, keeping an eye on your surroundings and the people around you, but the journey goes smoothly and you find yourself in the corridor of the cheap hotel, knocking on her door. It's me, Vicky.
Oh, thank God, she says, after opening the door just a crack to peer out at you. Come in. Should we be doing some kind of password so I know it's you?
She seems to have regained some of her previous spark after the shock of the attack. How are you doing, you ask as you close the door behind you.
Better, she says. I haven't even been outside yet, but I want to do something, you know. You've been looking into things more at Hanson, right? What did you find? I want to talk more about her.
I actually forget, what these do, if they do anything, so...
Okay.
Pick something, Jess.
You're talking with her.
Wait, before we get into any of that, you say, can you tell me something? Why are you so invested in this?
You were there. Those guys attacked me. This is personal.
But it was before that, wasn't it? Why is it so important to you?
She hesitates. Her lips part slightly, her fingers interlaced with each other. Then she sits heavily down on the bed. You know, she says, voice filling with a kind of wry wistfulness. I was 19 when I moved to the US. I had such big plans. I was going to win a Pulitzer. She laughs. There's no mirth in it. Ha ha ha! Kids are dumb. This job at Beacon is the best writing job I've ever managed to get. And it's crap. All I get to work on is clickbait and fluff pieces. I wanted I want to really reach people with my work, to be on the edge, break the big stories. And this is the biggest story I've ever come across. She hunches her shoulders. I guess you think that sounds selfish.
No, it's understandable. You could just be like, I don't care.
That's understandable. Just keep talking.
She gives a thin smile.
So, she prompts, what you found?
You take a deep breath, reach up and yank your earpiece out. You don't need the lecture. They're definitely going hell for leather trying to get the Aegis out, you say. It sounds like all the staff are being worked to the bone. You start to pace, trying to mentally arrange what you found out so far. I've noticed some of the employees acting strangely, like they're ill, you say.
Listen, she says, about yesterday. I'm sorry if I was snapping at you. I was really shaken up. But honestly, thank you for being there. I couldn't let you get hurt.
She squeezes your hand briefly, her skin warm against yours, then pulls back, trying to cover the moment with a laugh.
Oh, okay, she says, becoming serious. What happens now? I'm not just leaving the story. I'm not letting them scare me away. There must be something I can do.
Tell Vicky there's some stuff she can investigate.
I know what she can investigate.
Shut up. Oh, ruining the tone.
It's a very sweet moment that I ruined.
I want you to look into your coma employee again, you say. See if his family can tell you if he mentioned anything about what he was testing, seeing if there was anything else unusual about his situation. She nods. I bought you a burner
phone.
I bought you a burner phone, you say, pulling it out and handing it over. My number's in there in case of emergency. She takes it with a frown. You sigh and start to head for the door. Still so much to do.
This is how you do things, huh? Says Vicky, sweeping in, sweeping out, all mysterious. Bet a lot of girls like that. What's the best one? A lot of guys, or do you?
Either of the top two. The top one is just you being bisexual. She gasps, fakes scandalized.
So, no one's safe from you.
You wink at her, hamming it up, and she laughs.
Right.
She laughs out loud. One of the first times you've seen the tension disappear from her face, if only for a moment.
Guess I'll have to watch out, she says.
You blow her a kiss on the way out the door.
Be careful, okay? She says, adding, I know you're used to danger, but just watch out.
I will, you say, and look back one more time before you close the door behind you. It's the end of the day. Eyelids drooping, you return to your accommodation. It's Thursday morning. At least you slept better than the night before. You go through the usual morning routine and head out of your room. If you get... Yeah, let's go see the receptionist.
Okay.
You head back to the main reception. There are two people there now. One man you didn't see before, and one of the two women who were there previously, the one who wasn't ill. When she greets you, you ask if her colleague's feeling better, only to be met with a blank look. The other day, you prompt, she had a bad headache, had to go to the med centre?
I'm sorry,
Says the woman, and her shiny customer service smile is slipping.
Elise is on vacation, says the man. Do you want to leave a message, or...
You tell him that won't be necessary, and leave deep in thought. You know for a fact that the woman you just spoke to was here when Elise had to be taken to the med centre, but her confusion seemed perfectly genuine. As you're walking back down the corridor, you hear fast footsteps, and the female receptionist hurries past you. Her upset is clear in the set of her shoulders, and she doesn't notice you as she passes. She heads out of the door up ahead into the complex gardens. You follow her to a bench. In the corner of the garden, she's hunched, chewing on hangnail. Are you all right? You say. Startled, she leaps up from her seat.
Sorry, hi,
There's a rabbit in headlights quality to the way she looks at you. You sit down on the bench, doing your best to look non-threatening. Are you upset about Elise?
She says, hesitantly, "You saw us? Me? Yesterday? You're sure?"
Yes, you say, and read her expression, but you don't remember.
Okay,
She's
so
clearly frightened. She needs someone to stand up for her.
I was going to say, we haven't got the charm to persuade her. We would
But
fail
we do
that
have
persuasion.
muscles. It's like, look at my big muscles that I can protect you with. I know you're scared, you say. If there's something happening, you shouldn't have to just put up with it. I can help if you talk to me what really happened to Elise.
She inhaled sharply, almost a sob. "I don't know. I really don't. I remember seeing Elise yesterday morning and she was fine. Then I came in this morning and she wasn't here. They told me she'd gone on vacation, even though she'd never said anything about it. But yesterday afternoon, I don't remember. It's all a blur. I thought I was just tired until you showed up just now." She sniffs.
Has that happened before? She shakes her head, but you can tell there's something else, so you press, Did Elise tell you about anything similar?
"She was getting the headaches." She laughs.
The headaches?
I really can't talk to you about this."
She says, and now she's looking around, up at the trees, checking for cameras. All right, you say gently. You think, this could be an opportunity to loop Vicky in. You know she's experienced with getting people to talk to her. And as it becomes ever clearer that something dark is going on here, perhaps these people deserve a chance to get their story out. And then again, you know the agency would prefer things to be kept as quiet as possible.
Blow this up. Blow this up. Giving her
Give up.
Vicky's number.
If you want to talk, you say, quickly scribbling a number down, there's a friend of mine who would be interested in listening, okay? She nods, takes the scrap of paper, then with a quick apology hurries away. It's Thursday afternoon. Dun, dun. You're in the complex garden when you're approached by a secretary.
"Amy? Mr. Hansen has requested a brief meeting with you. Now, if that's okay." Betcha.
The main building of the complex has a large atrium in the middle, carving through several floors. Hercules is on the second floor, by the railing that cordons off the drop to the hard tiles below. Paul and Peter, the twin bodyguards, are positioned at each approach, while Hercules stands on the balcony, hands clasped behind his back.
Yeah, he sounds like he reads Ayn Rand. Ugh. Oof, fuck. My foot slipped.
What was I?
The twins.
The twins. You had wondered, but at a second glance, one attacker had been too short and the other too bulky for either to have been a twin. Peter, or maybe Paul, gives you a look of professional disdain and steps aside to let you approach. Let me see the stats. Show me them stats. Because our suspicion is quite low at the moment. But we could get it high, so we could get the motorcycle ride with Angel.
You want, okay.
But then again, if we get the party scene, that's more like romance content with the other romances.
Yeah, so we want to go to the party.
Okay. Daniels!
We want to go to the party so we can talk about how I rescued that party scene.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I did.
It is true. Daniels, you say smoothly.
Daniels, of course! He booms. He grabs your hand and shakes it hard. Lots of new faces, you understand?
He moves back and stands staring down into the atrium. Joining him, you glance over the railing to see what he's so interested in and notice the large sculpture down below. Previously, viewing it from the side, you'd thought it was an abstract, but from here you can see that the suspended pieces of metal at the right angle combine to form the figure of a kneeling man shouldering a huge circle.
is?
Hercules asks, not looking at you. Atlas, you respond. Greek mythology, the Titus who holds up the sky.
That's what most people think. But if you know mythology, you know the labours of Hercules. Hercules taking the weight of the sky from Atlas. He waves his hands as he becomes more animated. A mortal shouldering the burden of a god.
You've got to have like a big, like faux deep villain speech.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually matter what you say here. You can just be like,
just smile and nod. That's all he wants. He wants you to smile and nod.
Smile and nod.
If you're a woman dealing with a man talking at you like this, just smile, nod, get the hell out of there. A metaphor for the modern world, don't you think? Finally, he turns around. Hang on, I've got to do this. It's a metaphor for the modern world, don't you think? That once thought the province of fate, oh God, we learn about, we build towards, we control.
You leave a polite pause and then say, that's how you see what you're doing here, shouldering the burdens of gods.
He grins that hungry smile. It's what I've always aspired to. That's why I had this statue installed. Making the world better. I don't intend that to just be another empty slogan. He seems to gather himself, expression becoming a little more guarded. You've been here for a while now. I'm curious to know what you think. An outside perspective. It's always useful.
Now there's a loaded question if you've ever heard one. Well, obviously, you begin stalling while you construct a response.
He doesn't want a criticism, just tell him a nice thing.
I'm truly impressed by the vision behind it.
Achievement legends talk to Hercules.
And you continue with the speed in which you've managed to get this project to this point. It's hard to believe that it began only a year ago. Was it based off some earlier work?
It's a new idea for a new age. I broke my pop filter. He booms. Shows just what we can get done when we're all of one mind. He turns back to you, fixes you with intense stare. When you're planning to change the world, Miss Daniels, you can't let people hold you back.
Behold his gaze calmly. After a second or two, he flashes another toothy grin and steps back.
It was good to meet you in person, Hercules says. Got to go now. Lots to do, you understand?
Paul, possibly Peter, closes in behind you, not so subtly shouldering you out of the way as Hercules makes for the door at the far end of the balcony. Well, what was all that about? A sense of unease settles over you. Why pick you out to give that whole little speech?
As you're a woman giving him some attention.
Well, to be a bit spoilery here, like, he's been told that there might be someone sniffing around, and he's kind of like, you look a little bit suspicious, but he's not like fully, he doesn't know who you are, or like he's not like fully suspicious of you unless your suspicion score is high.
As well, being where he's based in Chicago, he'll know most of the at least have seen most of the journalists around before, and you're supposed to be the only newish face.
Well, you're from a British paper, presumably.
Yeah, so that would be okay. So it's Thursday evening.
Try to find more about the Aegis by talking to Hex.
Come on, Hex. It's your turn now.
After some combing of the complex's leisure areas and some patience, you manage to catch Hex in the canteen. They wave and gladly beckon you over to take a seat next to them.
Hi, Amy. How's it going?
Oh, you looked a bit lonely over here, you say. Hex looks around the table as if realising for the first time that no one else is there.
Well, they say, then give a rueful grin. That obvious, huh?
Don't you get on with your co-workers?
No, they're great. It's just some of them are awkward around me, the whole boss's kid thing, which I can't blame them for. I've known people who are like, they break into an affected drawl. Oh, I'll just go and work at father's company. Oh, ho, 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 ho. When dad asked me to come here, I was very clear I shouldn't get special treatment and that he shouldn't be involved with the recruitment process. I applied under a different name and everything.
I believe you, you say in response to their insistent gaze.
You ever feel like people are always looking at you and assuming things?
So I think just straight up agreeing with them probably gives you the most boost, which is what we want. No, I mean, I know what you mean. It's not fair.
Okay. That's what I liked about Trent when I first met him, He used to really try to see people. Used to. I'm talking about him like he's dead.
Trent is your ex, right?
Yeah, I guess he is now.
What was the big argument about?
It was this whole... Right. So he's an actor. He's on this TV show, which is just like the dumbest thing you've ever watched. Lucifer. And like, I've been over here. He's been filming. We weren't seeing each other that much. And then in this magazine interview, they ask him about me, and he's like, all like, "Oh, I think I'm more a fan of their work than they are of mine." Ha 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 ha. His voice is rising as they recount the tale. Like, I'm so sorry that my work is actually worth something, and he shouldn't have been talking about us with strangers.
I do have a few questions about the Aegis.
Great, shoot.
I talked to your dad.
Oh, yeah?
About mythology.
Oh, geez, he didn't give you the whole talk about the statue, Labours of Hercules? They roll their eyes. He's a total Greek mythology geek.
For a man named Hercules, I'm not that surprised. From a man who called his kid Hecuba. What are the limits of the implant's capabilities? You've talked about his uses for monitoring purposes, but there's more to it than that, right? I heard mention of boosting healing.
The implant has the capacity to produce compounds that accelerate healing, like regen.
Produce compounds, you repeat slowly, so it can actually affect the body.
Of course, that's like the whole selling point.
Would it be possible to use it for pain relief, for example?
Oh yeah, in fact, that's one of the future goals of the project. It's got great potential for dealing with chronic pain conditions. At the moment, though, full-on pain suppression would involve getting way up in the brainstem, which obviously we don't want, so it's not on the table yet.
How would you shut the chip down? Is there anything that would interfere with the chip's functionality or cause it to shut down, as in something accidental, like an electrical current?
Side-eyes you. We haven't really been tasing the test subjects, so that's hard to say. I mean, a really high electrical current would knock the chip out, but at that point, the user would have more to worry about.
How difficult is it to implant and remove?
The implantation is pretty quick. It's done using a sort of injector gun. You can do it in under a minute. And of course, you'd have an adjustment period of several weeks where the implant's functionality is gradually brought online, so it works as a baseline for the user's vital readings.
So it couldn't start working immediately, you interject.
We would never advise.
But could it?
Technically? Heck squints at you, confused.
That's
all I want to know. It feels like when you're talking to an NPC in a video game.
It's, I should go.
I should go.
Look, I need to... Oh, sorry.
That is not correct. Look, I need to get back to work, Hex says, rising from their seat. But it was nice talking. Come and find me again sometime, yeah?
Next.
Hi, Amy.
Gareth catches up with you as you walk through the glass-walled corridor that connects the main building with the building housing the accommodation. His usual grin has a hint of nerves to it. You feel yourself tense, not sure what to expect.
So, he says, amazingly enough, I actually have some free time tonight. I wondered if you maybe want to go out somewhere.
I'd love to. But would I love to for nefarious reasons?
What are we gonna do? Nefarious or sincere?
I think it doesn't like branch things at the moment. It's just it's a pragmatic principle.
We are very pragmatic.
Pragmatic personal, I don't know. Or maybe it's a business person.
Achievement! Go on outing with Gareth.
Yay. After wandering around for a while, talking, you end up in an upscale bar. You grab a table in the corner, enjoying the warmth and harmless conversation around you. You order a mojito and are surprised that Gareth gets a juice. You don't want anything else? You ask.
Smiles ruefully. I'm actually in AA, so...
Oh, this was a bad place to come then, you say, starting to get up, but he waves you back down.
Seriously, it's fine.
You settle back into your seat. I'm surprised, you say, for want of anything else to say.
Do you see Banjo?
No.
No.
Show him.
Is that better? Can you see him? He's playing. He's joining in. You think I don't look the type?
There's all types. I'm more surprised that you'd be so open about it.
I'm not ashamed of getting sober. It was hard enough, even with... Breaks off. Sorry, this isn't really first date material, is it? I'm pretty sure you're supposed to keep the deep dark secrets for later.
It's fine, you say softly, putting a hand on his arm.
Sorry, he says again. I'm still at the stage of figuring out how to do the whole socializing thing sober. Doesn't help that a lot of the friends I had before turned out to be less friends and more, well, drinking buddies.
How long has it been?
Almost a year. I was lucky. I had a lot of help, and I was very lucky to be working here. I mean, did you know that most health insurance providers don't like it when you try to pickle your own liver? Because they really don't.
He's in a talkative mood, and for someone like you, that's a gift. How to use it, though? Drug him. Drugs.
Okay, we're drugging him.
Oops. When it's your round, you order him something sweet, the better to mask the faint taste of the drug. Then it's just a matter of cracking the contents of one of the tiny vials into the glass and offering him the drink with a smile. We didn't actually need to do this.
You said drug him, so I clicked drug him.
Oops.
Is that right, Banjo? Did she say to drug him? He's nodding. He says you did. Isn't that right?
Let's
Banjo would never have to drug anyone. He would get them with his cuteness.
We could dig for personal information or information on Atkinson's death. Let's do information on Atkinson's death.
Yeah, like we are a spy. We're meant to be solving something. That's your own hair. Why are you trying to catch it? Oh.
He points out a pool table on the other side of the bar, and you get up to go take a look, the cogs in your mind clicking. You know already that he's not keen on talking about Atkinson, so how best to get him into a trusting mood?
Sorry, I'm just having to move things because Banjo's wandering the desk trying to eat things. Okay, are we gonna get flirty?
Oh, these are all stats we're not good at.
Oh no!
Oh, hang on. Let me see our stats. Oh, our suave is really bad. Okay. We did drug him, so it will make it easier.
See?
Go up. Knowledge of psychology is cunning.
Oh.
Using the game is audacity. Could try it.
Using the game?
Yeah. Oops.
Oh no!
Sorry. You grab a pool cue. This would be easier if you were better at pool. You try to make a joke of your misses, but you think Gareth's laughter comes more from pity. Your best efforts, however, do not translate into any useful information. You can feel the failure making things cooler between you. The rest of the night passes in a pleasant blur. You talk about travel and get into friendly arguments about your respective tastes in music. You try not to think too hard about how much of his friendliness comes from the drugs you slipped into his drink.
You told me to drag him, so I dragged him.
We done roofied him.
No, we didn't do that.
It's very late when you leave the bar and head back to the Hanson complex. A faint fog hangs in the air, cool on your skin after the heat of the indoors.
Thanks for this, Gareth says. It's been a while. I mean, not like just, with business and he drags a hand down his face. And I swear I usually can actually speak. You just I'm kissing him.
You can kiss him. You lean in and kiss him. It starts out a light press of lips, but his arm slides around your waist, pulling you closer, and your fingers trace the back of his neck, and neither of you seems to want to be the first to break away. When you finally do, Gareth just blinks at you. Took the words right out of your mouth, you tease.
And manages to put himself together and say, do you want to come back to my place?
It may be tempting, but you know it's not a good idea. You did just drug him after all. You want to be sure it's not the inhibition-lowering truth serum talking.
You just won't let me forget that.
Not tonight, you say.
Right, that's totally fine. You say it quickly.
And you agree to meet up at the party tomorrow. You get back in very late, enough that the night guards are at first disinclined to let you in. Fortunately, Gareth is able to reassure them. You say your goodbyes and wander back to your accommodation, where you fall asleep almost as soon as your head hits the pillow. It's the end of Thursday. Anywho.
You cuddle. You're gonna cuddle and play. I'm gonna play. Yeah. Bunch are gonna play. We need the mouse. Oh, he's a clever boy. The other one's here now, but she won't come up.
Friday morning.
Should we talk to Hex again?
Yeah, talk to Hex again.
Yeah, we're going to talk to Hex again, aren't we? Good boy.
You run into Hex in the complex gardens. They seem pleased enough to see you, but as you start to talk, they get a text. Let me guess, you say. You have to run?
I just need to run an errand. They consider. Come with me. It'll only take a second. I've been wanting to talk to you anyway.
You follow them into the main building, then out through an area of offices that you haven't been allowed into before. As you stop in front of an elevator and Hex swipes a gold-edged pass card, you realise that you are heading to the top of the building. Are we going to your father's office?
There's an apartment up there. He left something. It will just take a sec.
Next. The elevator doors open and you step out onto polished tile. The apartment is open plan and filled with light from floor to ceiling windows. From up here you get a great view of the city.
Honestly, Hex grumbles. When he gets wrapped up in something, he forgets everything else. If I hadn't made it a whole thing that we've got to have dinner tonight, he'd probably forget to eat.
Does he usually get so wrapped up on the company's projects?
Not everything. Hex has wandered farther into the apartment. We hear drawers being opened and closed. But the Aegis is very important to him. The last big launch, that was mostly the board's idea, and it didn't do so great. Dad keeps saying he wants to make something that will change the world, not just make money. And honestly, with this, we might actually do it. There you are. The last is said with triumph, and Hex reappears holding a tablet computer. On top of the fridge, they say with an eye roll. Come on. 180, 6313, something in your ear. That belongs to Hercules. That could be perfect to plant the bug on if you distract Hex. It's not without risk. They'll find the hack sooner or later, and that will raise suspicion. You've kept a pretty low profile so far, so it might not be that bad, but your choice.
I think that means that we can take this all, if you put the bug in, it always gives you a suspicion boost. That's basically what 313 is telling you here.
Yeah.
But we might have suspicion low enough that it wouldn't.
I think
That we'd
it's only
still
like
make the
9%,
city.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, you see Banjo? He's been such a good boy, sat in my lap. Bear's trying to get his tail. Please don't do that, Bear. He will claw me. Okay, are we taking the risk?
You want to take the risk?
Yeah!
Okay. As they head back towards the elevator, your mind whirs with thoughts of how to get the tablet out of Hex's hands for the few seconds you will need to place the bug. You could use a distraction, the odd stage magician routine, draw their attention here to cover what you're doing there. Oh shit, these are all like stuff we're not good at. Oh, I thought we had the neurodisruptor and we do not because I got something else instead. Oops.
Okay, so what should we do? We're going to do Banjo.
We will fail any of these, so.
No! Sorry, he's trying to get wires. He's going to have to go down. You've got a little belly. You've got a fat little belly, haven't you? Fat little belly boy. Fat little belly boy. Does he look happy or not? Little belly.
Fronted.
And you go. Good boy. Hey, Bear. Okay. Let's. I don't feel comfortable tripping them up.
You can try and talk them into handing it over.
Let's try that. That seems like the least worst option.
Oh, did you hear? You say brightly as the elevator doors slide close behind you. You try to engage them in talking about palm reading, but they just laugh at you for believing in it.
See, that feels like kind of like at least nice. You weren't like trying to be aggressive towards them. They were like, okay. You just started doing a weird conversation.
Yeah, if you get the correct suave here, it's like, oh, I'll just take that off you so I can read your palm.
Okay. Sorry, there's cat hair everywhere now. Banjo is shedding like crazy.
The elevator doors open again, and Hex hurries off to hand over the tablet to Hercules' PA before returning to you. Hex talks a lot in their rapid-fire way, and in response to their questions about your life, you give details about Amy's life, both real and made up. You just hope that Hex never comes into contact with the real Amy Daniels at some point in the future.
And are you seeing anyone?
Hex looks away from you as they ask. You kind of had the feeling that this was coming. No one could accuse them of being subtle. No.
Hex leans a little closer. Because I was thinking, you know, this party, it's going to be awful. I'm going to have to schmooze with the shareholders who are just terrible. They flash an impish grin. I'm allowed to say that. I am one. Anyway, the whole thing might be a lot better if I had the right company. We wouldn't have to stick around the whole night. A few hours, meet and greet, and then we can split and do the eyes flicker up and down your body. You know, whatever. What do you say? Want to be my date?
Say yes, as I'm genuinely interested.
Gareth is going to be pissed. Great, says Hex, breaking into a wide smile. I'll see you there then.
Next.
I think I've been pretty much giving Hex, like, my voice.
These are both like multi-part things, which we don't really have time for, but let's find out more about the twins.
Okay.
There is something about the twins that nags at you. Atkinson's death nags at you, and you're sure now that whatever happened to him, Hercules knows about it if he wasn't involved himself. As his bodyguards, the twins go everywhere with him. There's no way they wouldn't know what Hercules does. Also, you've run into Paul twice now as you've gone around the complex. Are you right in thinking that he's suspicious of you, or is that just your own paranoia? You sit in your room while 313 gives you the lowdown on the brothers.
Okay. Paul and Peter Fairley, 29 years old, born in Gilbert, Arizona. Nothing much to say about their childhood. They were pretty average in school. Paul better than Peter. She mutters softly to herself, keyboard clacking. This might be interesting. Both brothers were on their school football team, okay? Something happened at an after-game party. At least, I have 3 things here. There's a newspaper clipping that says that a student at the high school got badly injured after a scuffle. There's a police record that mentions a 17-year-old male taken into custody and then released with caution. And a few days after that, Peter was taken off the team. Attempting to connect the dots, but we're missing the actual arrest record. No way to access it digitally. She continues. After that, they both enlisted in the army. A couple of disciplining charges, nothing serious enough for dishonourable discharge. They didn't re-enlist after their time was up, and after the army, they seemed to drift for a while working security jobs, still staying together, until they ended up in Chicago working for Hanson about 4 years ago.
Actually, I'm not sure, if the timeline quite matches up there with when their army term would have finished, but whatever. I shouldn't have pointed that out. It's fine. Pretend I didn't say that.
It depends when they signed up, I suppose.
Yeah, if they signed up right out of high school. If they were 19.
Yeah, I'm thinking the goal was to get onto football, but then when they got kicked off the team, then straight to the army.
You lean back in your chair thinking, so who was the better player?
What?
Football player. Who scored the most goals, tries? You know what I mean.
I don't know if there's going to be any easy way to tell. I heard, star quarterback, Peter Fairley.
Might be worth finding out more, especially about Peter. I have a feeling he could be the weak link. The football thing sounds interesting. That's something that may be a sore spot for him even now.
Well, I guess the Gilbert cops still have that record in the basement somewhere, and the football coach is retired but still lives in the area.
Oh no. These are also the stats we don't have. Oh, we were doing so well.
You were like, let's be forceful in tech, because I don't see people do that. Turned around and bitten you on the arse.
It is a good combination, just if we take different routes. We should have done the security guys. That's got a good forceful tech one. Oh dear.
So just to clarify, what do these need?
Suave, audacity, and cunning.
Shall we see which one we have the most of?
We're bad in all of them, but especially suave.
Well, we have more audacity and cunning, so that's slightly less terrible.
Oh, we nuked our suspicion. Oh well. We'll see, Angel. Yeah. Your boldness doesn't get you anywhere this time. You just get hung up on a lot.
Because normally I do a charming character, so I normally ace that bit.
Yeah.
Terribly everywhere else, but I do well on that. There's one more thing, 313 says when you're done. The blood you found. The test came back. It's definitely not Atkinson's, but it does belong to a Caucasian male. And if we're thinking the twins are suspects...
Well, let me guess. You want a sample to test it against?
Yep. Doesn't matter which one because...
Because identical. Got it. I'll see what I can get you. But we're too late. You're back in your room when your phone rings. It's Vicky.
Hey, she says, do you have a minute to talk?
For you, of course. You say, what's up?
Your friend Sandra called.
The receptionist, of course. Vicky continues.
She was pretty nervous, but eventually I managed to get her to open up to me. And get this. She draws her words out with the thrill of someone telling a ghost story. This chip, the Aegis, they're testing it on their employees. Not all of them, but enough. She said they agreed to it, but now she's worried it's having side effects they were never warned about. Headaches. And other things.
I see, you say, trying to keep your voice and expression calm, which I didn't really there, but...
Has there been any of these performances that have matched up with from my side, that have matched up with what's been written?
Well.
Think about this. If something's going wrong with the chip, maybe that's connected to Atkinson. Maybe it, I don't know, blew a circuit or something and made him stroke out at the wheel of his car. And they're trying to cover it up, because you know this would destroy the company. They've got so much riding on it.
It's big, all right.
Oh, damned right it is, Vicky says with satisfaction. You know what I was telling you about on Tuesday? The guy who worked here and ended up in a coma? What do you want to bet he was testing this too? I'm going to chase that one down again. That one again. Now I know what I'm looking for. Oh, Hansen is going down for this.
Yes, they will.
Will. Yes. She cheers. Vicky lets out a huff of breath. Okay, I'm going. Lots to do now. Thanks for sending Sandra my way. I'll talk to you later.
It's Friday evening and time to prepare for the party.
Okay, so I think before we come to the party, we should talk about how this party got fixed. What was the problem with the party scene, Karelia?
The party scene did not have enough interaction with the people at the party.
So someone came to my house just like, I don't know what to do with my game, I'm stressed. And I gave amazing advice, which was?
Nice scenes with the love interests, which we're now not going to see.
What? Why aren't we going to see them?
Oh, you'll see.
Okay, we're going to pick an outfit in more detail.
We done fucked up.
And choose a dress.
Choose the artsy dress. The high fashion dress. Yeah. You picked this up the last time you were in Milan. After a hair-raising encounter with the mafia, that designer was grateful enough that he made this one-of-a-kind dress just for you. You pick up a clutch purse. The chain strap is reinforced metal, the ends weighted. Should complement the outfit nicely. And to go with it.
Stiletto heels, because I ain't going outside in loafers. And I'm wearing like this couture gown. Yeah, I'm going to wear some loafers. Or I'm going to be cruel to animals and like torture some kitten heels. I hate kitten heels. They are awful.
You look at yourself in the mirror and nod approvingly.
And before anyone comes at me, I don't care. Kitten heels are terrible. They make your legs look stumpy. Achievement, get the party started!
Oh, God, I thought we'd killed our suspicion. I think I did.
We're going as Hex's date.
I made it easier, I think, this check. You should all thank my editor, who was like, yeah, you should make this easier, because no one's going to be able to get it. The party is taking place in and around the atrium, which has been decorated for the occasion. Sparkling lights drape down from the balcony. Holograms of the Hansen Technologies and the Aegis logo are projected into the air, hovering above the crowd. The statue of Atlas, or Hercules, is floodlit, the metal gleaming. A temporary bar has been set up underneath it. Tables and chairs are clustered throughout the hall. Some people are sitting down, but most are moving around, mingling, forming groups that disperse and regroup. Waiters thread through the crowd with platters of hors d'oeuvres and trays of champagne. You look around, noticing...
We should go see Hex first.
Cool. Hex talking to some people on the other side of the room. Hopefully hasn't been talking to Gareth today.
Hey, we never said we were exclusive.
You catch a glimpse of red hair, but they seem busy. You move deeper into the hall. From overheard conversations, it sounds like there's going to be some kind of announcement later, though you didn't pick up on exactly when that's supposed to happen. More people are coming in through the entrance. You take in their numbers, their movements, and notice one person who enters on her own, walking slowly in an attempt to not draw attention to herself, that instantly draws your eye. It's only a moment later that you realise it's Vicky.
Oh no. Everyone I'm dating is here. Oh no.
Before you can figure out whether it's best to engage or run, she looks over. Her eyes widen, then she shrugs at you. You walk over. You know you're not supposed to be here.
You don't get big stories by hiding away in a Fleabag hotel room, she says archly.
You don't get people trying to kill you either. Did you forget that? It's not safe for you here.
Maybe I'll have to stick with you then. Well, she can't because we're on a date with Hex.
You'd probably be safer away from me. Do what you want, but be careful.
Fine. She starts to turn away, then grimaces. Hey, you be careful too.
I'll try. You watch her walk away, then shake your head and turn your attention back to the rest of the room. Though you're trying to stay out. Are we missing the date scene? Is it because Vicky? Is it possibly?
Is it because we're dating everyone? The game won't
Yeah,
let.
we might have broken the game. Oops. Or Vicky. It might have set Vicky as our date. Like she might be like
The highest stat.
yeah. Oh.
That's okay.
You watch her walk away, then shake your head and turn your attention back to the rest of the room. Though you're trying to stay out of the way, people still jostle past you on the way to the bar, or a friend, or the nearest plate of free food. When you sense someone come up close behind you, you automatically shift to let them pass. Then you feel a hand tap you on the shoulder. You catch a hint of a familiar cologne, and part of you knows, even before you see him, even before you hear that voice.
Hello, Isabella, says Angel.
Dun dun dun!
Dun!
Oof.
Chapter 6.
That was a long chapter because we got all the bonus scenes.
We got all the bonus scenes because we're such great players.
Chapter 6. You stare at Angel. He's wearing a cream linen suit with a crisp white shirt open at the neck.
He's wearing a linen suit. Ugh. He's like dressed up like Colonel Sanders. Why is he wearing linen?
Because he's dressed in white.
No. What time of year is this?
2025.
No, what time of year?
Oh, I don't know. I've forgotten if I've said it.
Or you said it was cold outside, so if this is after Labor Day, he should not be wearing white.
He's foreign. He doesn't care about it.
He's also wearing a linen suit. What is he, like a plantation owner in the deep south? I'm going to enjoy this mint julep on the other side. Linen? Really? I thought Angel was meant to like be into fashion and stuff, but a linen suit? It should be like a white silk tuxedo or something.
Yeah, but he was wearing a tuxedo the first time he appeared.
Yeah, but he's wearing linen now. It's worse. He's like his big daddy in Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. Wow, Angel 180, I do feel like a cat on a hot tin roof. Okay, so Angels come to this party.
Such fashion crimes.
Angels come to this party as Colonel Sanders. It's finger looking good.
It's American cosplay, okay.
Okay.
It's cunningly tailored, softening and playing down the hard lines of musculature beneath. A wolf in sheep's clothing, indeed. Would seem difficult to conceal any sizable weaponry in that.
Oh, that's what she said.
But you know too well that looks are deceiving. Your first impulse is to lunge for him, but you restrain yourself. You're surrounded by people, and you have to keep your cover. Hello, Jet, you say, staring him down.
He smirks. You don't look too happy to see me. Was it something I said?
You know
the French accent. Not much more pronounced than the fake one he had before. Love the dress, sweetheart. Is that a Caparelli? Because apparently I know fashion, even though I'm wearing a linen suit in the middle of the night. 180! 313 stands on edge. You imagine her straightening up on her chair, leaning urgently towards the screen. I can't see his face. He's wearing a camera mask. Is this...
Angel, you say. You hear 313 taking a sharp breath in your ear. And Angel starts to say something, but whatever either was going to say is interrupted. Next.
Sorry, says Hex as they reappear. Didn't mean to ditch you. I had to talk to some people. Oh my god, Gabriel, hi! This last is directed with undue enthusiasm towards Angel, who swoops in with a double cheek kiss and a Hex. So good to see you again.
Gabriel, you say dryly. Hex arranges themselves between you, making introductory gestures.
Amy Daniels, this is Gabriel Montfort. Amy's a journalist for the Sentinel. She's covering the Aegis launch. Gabriel's a potential investor. Enchanté, purrs Angel, smiling like a shark. He stretches out a hand. Okay, what's the best choice for Angel in this bit?
Shake hands with all the warmth I can muster.
Not the cheek kiss.
No.
Doesn't like that.
And they like it, but they won't. No, wait. Actually, they won't respect you for it, but our respect is already low. So we actually want to lower it even more.
So cheek kiss him.
Yeah.
Full on tongue kiss him. Ah!
Fine. He wants to play? You know this game too. Pareillement, you reply smoothly, leaning in and taking a small amount of pleasure at the way he tenses up, checking where your hands are. Hex moves back towards Angel as you step back, filling the silence with excited small talk. You back away and automatically turn, scanning the rest of the room, your mind racing. People surround you. Is that woman looking at you oddly? Could that man be hiding something under his ill-sized jacket? The music blares, the ever-present chatter of the crowd battering your ears. Is this a trap? Does this mean that there's a Diablo link to everything going on here?
Keep contact, says 313, her voice tense. He's here for a reason.
Angel and Hex are still talking. Angel leaning in, his motions tinged with flirtation. He towers over Hex. What's your biggest priority right now? It probably should be Angel. You've seen what he's capable of, and who knows what he'll be doing if you turn your back on him. And you know 313 would prefer you to keep your mind on the mission, but you have a feeling that if you get into that now, you won't have the chance to do anything else.
Talk to Angel alone. Oh, doing that?
We've kind of messed up our dates, haven't we?
Oh, well.
I'll talk to Angel.
Let's see how our stats are with him. So how are our stats? So we're still quite high with Vicky. We've got to almost 20% with Angel.
Okay. Oof, 23 with 313.
Yeah.
Oh, Hex, you say, heading back to the pair. I think your father was looking for you.
Really? Okay, better go see. Sorry, Gabriel, we've got to talk more later, okay?
The moment Hex's back is turned, you grab Angel's arm, hustling him into the corner of the room. You feel muscle tense under your fingers, but he allows you to steer him to a quieter spot.
You're not going to introduce me to your friend, he says.
I think you owe me an apology.
Okay. He arches an eyebrow. You're alive, aren't you?
Exactly. I think I deserved a little better than being left to the incompetency of 2 second stringers. You sigh dramatically. After all I've heard about you, it was very disappointing.
A slow smile spreads across his face. I suppose it was poorly executed. We'll see what happens in the future, yes?
Let's.
Maybe this will serve as an apology. I have a message for you. He glances around and lowers his voice. Azazel sent me. Azazel has an offer for you. Azazel has an offer for you.
Azazel. Diablo members call themselves the stupidest things. Roughly speaking, the higher up you get, the more pretentious the names, but Azazel doesn't ring a bell. Who's Azazel?
As the little voice in your ear may be. Angel leans closer to you. Any thoughts, Control?
313 lets out a hissing breath and says softly,
Azazel is high up. Council.
The Council of Devils rules Diablo. If Angel's telling the truth, this could be unprecedented. A glimpse into Diablo's upper echelons? You don't know if that's more intriguing or terrifying. The chatter and clatter of the crowd fade into the background as you focus all your attention on the man in front of you. All right, what's this message?
That's all I can tell you. Azazel wants to talk to you personally, and that can't happen here.
So I'm just supposed to go with you. Exactly how stupid do you think I am? Impatience flashes across Angel's face.
Ask yourself this. He darts forward, grabs your left wrist and holds your prosthetic arm up in front of your face. Do you want to find the man who did this to you?
Stop doing funny voices. This is a dramatic moment.
That is the best French accent that I can do.
It's better than mine, to be honest. Blood pounds in your ears. Faustus, you breathe.
Faustus, you want him, and Azazel can give him to you.
He's one of yours. Why would you do that?
Angel crosses his arms. Are you going to talk or not? Tell him yes, interjects 313, but that you get to pick the location.
I relay this to Angel.
Is it obedient?
Yeah, we're being nice to 313.
Fine, Angel responds, but it has to be somewhere you can get to in 20 minutes or less.
So that there's not enough time for you to set a trap. You hear the rapid-fire clatter of 313's keyboard. Then she names a place. You repeat.
That'll work, Angel says after clearly thinking about it. I'll see you there. It's the accent's dipping in and out, according to his background, but I know because I'm a special super secret person. I don't like this, P13 tells you as you approach the rendezvous. But this place is busy. It's near a police station and I've tapped into all the cameras around. At least I should be able to warn you if this place looks like it's about to go wrong. He got here 3 minutes ago, by the way. Black Ducati parked down a side street. No, he's alone. Not talking to anyone or doing anything that I can see. Looks alert, but not nervous. I've told Agent at 100 about this as well, she adds. He's on his way, but he'll hold back unless things look bad.
Thanks. It's a small park, relatively empty at this time of day. You spot Angel immediately, sitting on a bench in the middle of the park. He's changed into motorcycle leathers and discarded the brown wig for his original bleach blonde. He gives you the same examination you're giving him, both of you suspicious of the other, both ready for a fight. So, you say, here I am. With a single nod, Angel reaches into the black satchel at his side and pulls out a bulky laptop, which he opens up and places on the low concrete wall and between you. The camera light is on, but the screen stays black. Like mine. It is I!
Oh no! Agent.
The voice is a deep metallic rasp, so heavily distorted it barely sounds human.
My regular voice. Thank you for agreeing to talk. I realise trust is difficult to ask for in our position.
You know, your henchman here tried to kill me just the other day.
Was that the best one to do?
It's funny.
I'm sure you understand that these things are never personal. The voice growls as Angel scowls at you. I hope we can put any past misunderstandings behind us and look to our mutual benefit.
Angel mentioned Faustus, you say, hoping your voice doesn't betray the urgency you feel.
Ah, okay. Yes, echoes Azazel. But there is more to this than him. The harsh voice drones on. This involves the Aegis.
You stare into the black screen. Off to the side, Angel lounges against the wall, inspecting his nails.
I know that you've been investigating Hansen Technologies, continues Azazel. Maybe you have already noticed some oddness, but I doubt you know how disturbing the truth really is.
Azazel pauses for, you're pretty sure, purely dramatic effect. Don't I? You say. Let's see. The Aegis can do something to people. Something like make them forget things, make them insensitive to pain, maybe make them drive their car off a bridge. So it's interacting with the brain. That's complicated stuff, but Hansen put this together very quickly, like they're working with someone who's no stranger to crazy biotech. How am I doing so far? There's a moment of silence.
Cute and clever, says Angel, grinning at you. Very nice. Yes, very good. He has been working with Mr. Hansen since almost a year.
Dimly, you notice the awkward phrasing. Non-English speaker?
And we have been hearing great things about this Aegis. It's now fully developed and ready to be released. Very soon there will be very many people walking around with an implant. A small army of test subjects for Faustus's greatest experiment.
A prickle of dread runs down your spine. It sounds incredible, but in light of what you've seen, it makes a horrible kind of sense. You glance at Angel, but he just seems bored, obviously having heard this already.
This is because I ate all the Pop-Tarts.
Well, whatever. Whatever you like.
Sarcasm.
Sounds like a Diablo dream come true. What's the matter?
I have reason to believe that his true plan is to turn on us once the chips are active. He'll have the equivalent of an army. Why would he need to take orders from us? But, even through the heavy distortion, you imagine the next words come with a sneer. Faustus is supported by my colleague, Beelzebub. Beelzebub does not listen to my concerns, and has persuaded the others to ignore me too. I can't openly make a move to stop him, but...
If someone else did, you finish the thought, you get what you want without risking your position, and you get to make your colleague look bad.
Yes, we understand each other.
I think this is just a principle pragmatic thing.
Is that the pragmatic?
Yeah, probably. Ulterior motives.
I'm thankful for the warning.
I appreciate you coming to us anyway, you say. I doubt your colleagues would approve.
It is worth the risk.
You stare into the black plane of the screen, trying to marshal your thoughts. So how much is Hercules actually involved?
I'm sure he is aware of the true purpose of the Aegis, and has been an active partner in providing all the resource needed. What his motivations are, and if he knows his partner's real intentions, I can't say.
And this control, how does it work?
From the information that I have access to, Azazel says, the chip will remain in its normal functioning state until given an activation signal. The controller, Faustus, can feed into that signal whatever commands are needed.
How do they transmit the activation signal? What's the range?
Angel has more specific information and all that, Azazel answers. You have your own sources, I'm sure, but if you require more help, he'd be more than happy to assist.
So what exactly are you offering?
It's in both our best interests to stop this, so I can offer you information, resources. Angel, of course, who I believe has proved his competency to you already. All I ask is that Faustus is eliminated. Exterminated. Clearly I'm being a Dalek.
The words ring in the air. You mean killed?
Of course. Duh. You've carried out similar work before, haven't you? And you could say the world will be better without him. He's done many terrible things. A pause, then. It was 7 hours, no? How awful that must have been for you.
Your breath catches. You have to glance away from the screen and see Angel watching you, expressionless. How the hell do you know about that? You snap.
I apologize for upsetting you, says Azazel. If there's any true sympathy in the voice, it's drowned by the distortion. I just meant that you, especially, know what he's capable of. You don't need to decide anything immediately, but I must warn you, Faustus will be at the Hansen complex tonight, but he's going to move soon, and we don't know where to. If you want the chance to stop him in the Aegis, you need to move fast. Contact Angel if you need anything from us, and whatever you decide to do, good luck.
The line cuts out. Angel snaps the laptop closed and returns it to his bag, then pulls out a phone, which he tosses to you. You catch it one-handed, glance down at it, cheap, basic, a burner, and back at Angel, who mouths, "Call me," and winks. He slings the bag over one shoulder and swaggers away.
I hate to see him turn up, but I love to see him walk away. Well, says 100, strolling up to you a few minutes later. He has a small piece of paper in one hand. That was interesting. Hand you the paper. Here, souvenir.
It's a Polaroid photo of your meeting, taken from a distance. You can see your own arm and shoulder in the shot, but the main focus is Angel, and his face is clear.
Sometimes the new way isn't always the best, 100 says with some satisfaction.
You sigh. So, you heard all that. What's your take?
I can't say I like it. I do believe them about Faustus. That's the major hook in all this, and they'd be daft to lie about it. And it's plausible that there's some power struggle going on in the upper echelons. It's happened before. But the tempting bait, the short time frame, it's a hustle. There's something else they want out of this. The question is, what?
You nod grimly. You'd been thinking something along the same lines. And furthermore, you can't help but think... They can't get away with this.
Can't get away with this. Hanson and Faustus can't get away with this.
Who knows how many people have been hurt while the two of them cooked up this insane scheme? And how many more will be?
This is, says 313 with a sharp take of breath. I have to contact HQ with this. 100, 180, stay together. 180, don't go back to the compound. Just hang tight until I get back. Actually, if I might suggest something, 100 interjects, we still have a certain matter to deal with, and it might help corroborate this new information. But, 313 begins uncertain, I think we just reached need to know. Fine, 313 concedes after a moment's silence. But stay together, and if the situation starts looking risky, you pull out of there immediately. Got that? Understood, replies 180. I'm sure 180 and I will be able to manage. I'll be as quick as I can.
You hear a click in your earpiece, then nothing. 100 drives you across the city, giving you a brief explanation on the way. He's been tracing black market tech shipments. Leads had brought into a small construction firm that had been hired to make some odd renovations. The location doesn't look like much, a squat 2-story concrete building surrounded by a chain-link fence. But if 100's sources were correct, this place is set up with modifications to make it into a small but secret lab. They'd also installed a generator so that the building's high power requirements wouldn't draw attention. With the new information you'd received, 100 believes that this might be connected to Faustus. Either that or you have yet another mad scientist running around Chicago.
No one outside, says 100 as you drive slowly past. If Azazel was right, then this place should be abandoned now.
Can't count on that, you say, eyeing the darkened lot in the passenger mirror.
Didn't intend to. Brings the car to a stop some way down the street. Ideas?
Why not tell me what we've got here first, you say, and get an approving eyebrow quirk.
What do you want to know?
Exits and entrances?
As far as getting through the fence, I rather wish I brought bolt cutters in the car, but the padlock on the gate looks pickable.
Well, it might be climbable, you say.
If you want to try, be my guest, he says flatly. You don't know what you said to get that reaction, but he ignores your questioning look. Now, the main entrance has a keypad lock on it. The emergency exit has been bricked up. There are windows, though. Might be able to break or force them open.
Security guards?
Ah, so much. This chapter. Really. Oh, there was a watchman out in the yard when I scoped the place out earlier. Might be someone inside. Wouldn't expect a heavy security presence, though.
What about inside the building?
Don't have much to go on there. Haven't been in myself. Supposedly the lads installed quite a few electronic locks. Of course he says lads.
Did you look into the place where the drone was being directed from?
I did. Couldn't get in past the fire engines. He answers the question in your face with a grim nod. Nothing left but ashes.
That's the Diablo MO, all right. No evidence, whatever it takes. That's all I need to know.
All right then, says 100 and throws the car door open. Let's go and commit some breaking and entering, shall we?
Please tell me you have some spare clothes. This dress is a one-off.
Yes, it's a little impractical, 100 says with the faintest smile. 313 made sure there was an emergency bag for you in the car, just in case, he says.
Good, you say, and grab the duffel bag out of the back. There are sneakers and a basic change of clothes, t-shirt and jeans. 100 politely turns away while you change in what little shelter is provided by the car and the wall it's parked against. As he moves, he makes a soft sound, air hissing between gritted teeth, and reaches for his shoulder. Something wrong?
No, it's fine, he says quickly. Old injury, just been sitting too long. He moves around to the back of the car. Anyway, one more thing.
There's a long, locked metal case in the back of the car. Andrew presses his palm against a reader to open the case, revealing 2 guns nestled in shaped foam. He hands one to you, and you automatically check it over before you pick up the magazine. You take a belt holster and secure the gun, then turn back to 100. Let's do this.
So long. So long.
You're gonna love chapter 7. The longest chapter of all.
Yeah, well, we're not doing that one tonight, so that's okay.
That'll take hours. Well, maybe not hours, but like, yeah. After chapter 4, the chapters just get longer and longer. You walk along the perimeter fence, staring through the wire into the yard. It's mostly empty tarmac with a thin layer of dirt and building debris. There are a few empty gas cylinders carelessly discarded near the door. There are tyre tracks in the dirt, several vehicles. The tyre tracks run through the main gate, which is closed and secured by a hefty padlock. Looking up at the building, you notice something that you couldn't see from the car. The place has a flat roof, but there's a raised square dome in the middle, with skylight windows on 4 sides. One of the windows is ajar. You point this out to Agent 100, who replies that you'd need to find a way of getting on the roof in the first place. None of the nearby buildings are close enough to let you jump to the roof, but there is a tree that overhangs the fence. The branches look sturdy enough to take your weight. It's still some distance to the roof and a nasty fall if you fail, but it would let you get inside the building and open the main door from the inside. It'll be difficult, though. You need to be able to jump like hell or do it without hesitation. Or you could just pick the padlock. It'll be harder without proper lockpicks, but there's no harm in trying.
Didn't we have lockpicks?
No.
Oh, okay.
Skylight. I think we can do it. I think.
It's okay, so we get to the roof and through the skylight.
Yeah. You take a running jump and use the momentum to swarm up the side of the building and kick off, aiming for and just managing to grab one of the tree's sturdier branches. The tree sways with the impact. You wait until it stills and carefully cross from branch to branch until you're edging along the one that breaches the wire fence. The distance from here to the roof looks greater than you'd judged from down on the ground, and the branch creaks under your weight, but hesitating will make the jump harder, so you move a tiny bit closer and then throw yourself out into space. You twist in midair, roll to lessen the impact of hitting the roof, and finish in a standing position. Not bad, if you say so yourself. From your vantage point, you see 100 give you an approving nod.
Thanks, Dad.
Now for the skylight. It's only half open, but it's a big window, with space big enough to squeeze through. Making sure the coast is clear, you go through legs first, wriggling to fit your shoulders through, and drop to the floor. There's something institutional about the inside of this building. The walls of the corridor you've landed in are white, the floor is green linoleum, and the air smells like a mixture of cleaning product, plastic, and the faintest undertone of something else, sweet but unpleasant. It's dimly lit and quiet enough to seem deserted.
Great, like every hospital I've ever been in.
Hugging the wall and glancing around every corner, you make it back to the front door and let 100 in. You're in front, so you're the one who sees the security guard first. He's on the short side, somewhat overweight. He plods through the corridor at a leisurely pace, tunelessly humming under his breath. It doesn't look like he has a gun. Not much of a threat by himself, though you don't know what he has in the way of backup. He might be a source of information. You might just be able to slip past him without him ever knowing you were there, though you'll miss any opportunity of getting information out of him. Getting him to talk in these circumstances may not be easy. You take quick stock of your appearances, you in your shabby clothes and 100 in his dressed-down denim. Neither of you look exactly professional or official. No, we have to fail this.
Why?
No, fail. Trust me.
Okay, are we sneaking past to fail?
Yeah. You raise your fist and signal to 100 behind you to stop. Hidden in the shadows, you barely breathe as the guard ambles past. As he ambles past, you take a step forward and your shoe squeaks on the As he ambles past, you take a step forward and your shoe squeaks on the linoleum. He stops, shoulders stiffening. You hastily retreat. He half turns, the flashlight dancing across the walls, mercifully not catching you in its glare.
Did we pass this?
No.
Oh.
You're holding your breath at this point, mentally judging the distance to him, the move that you'd need to make to get him in a chokehold. With a frown, he turns around again and continues on his route. You softly exhale and make sure the man's gone some distance before you hurry down the entrance he emerged from. 100 follows you, moving silently. You failed a stealth check.
Did I? He doesn't seem to have turned around to talk to me.
You press on, exploring the rest of the place. The building has corridors in a rough H shape. The rooms you pass seem to be mostly storage and are all empty. You quickly find a flight of stairs that leads into the basement, and you creep down the stairs. There's not much down here. A single floor there. I can't even read now. A single door sits in the middle of a wall. You go up close and put your ear against the door. Not a sound, although that trace of an unpleasant smell in the air is stronger down here. This door also has an electronic keypad lock, but it's been deactivated. 100 takes up position by the side of the door, gun at the ready, and nods at you. You unholster your own weapon, then turn the handle and throw the door open.
Bam!
This is going to take some acting. A horrific smell hits you, the cloying stench of rotting flesh. Your eyes begin to water and you gag. Even 100 claps a hand over his nose and mouth, face screwed up in disgust. The source is clear. A body lies in the middle of the floor, in such an advanced state of decay that the flesh is practically liquefied. Oh God, you know what this is. The smell, the lights, the restraints, the pain. The dark jaws of fear open beneath you and swallow you whole. Harsh fluorescent lights, glowing instrument panels, heart hammering. 'Tis you. Do an evil voice.
Subject is in excellent physical condition. Sorry, there's a cat under my legs. 80? Sorry, I blame my cat. She's tickling my feet.
Gotta get out of here, gotta move, gotta escape. Straps pulled tight, digging in, no way to move. Can't move, can't breathe, can't.
This will be version 2.5 of viral compound. Look at me.
Taps the syringe, clink, clink. Looks down at you like he's thought of a joke. Joke's on you, you tried, you did, you really did.
It might help you to think of this as advancing the course of science. Look at me, this isn't real.
Isn't real. Isn't real. Feels real.
Look at me, I'm right here, look around you.
He keeps talking. Maybe he has been for a while. Pain. Voice. Focus on the voice. Asking questions.
180, look around you. Tell me what you see. What colour are the walls? Both cats are staring at you right now. As much as they can see or hear.
They're caught by the acting. 100's face in front of you, but you can still feel the straps and the burning, blazing pain in your hand, and the lights are still. The walls are white.
That's right. That's good. What else do you see?
His voice is low, calm, and steady. You cling to it like a life raft as he continues asking you to describe your surroundings, the reality pushing against the nightmare. You're shaking, utterly drained, but your head is clearer now. The present once again solidifies against you, around you, pretending it never went away.
Easy now.
Oh, my voice is going.
We've got a while to go, Chuck.
He's standing a careful distance away, eyes trained on your face. You're now in the corridor outside that room. You must have bolted out here when you... You slide down the wall to sit on the floor, and he sits down beside you. It's him, you say, having to force the words out. Fast as he... The body, there's this virus, a fast one and a slow one, and...
I know. You're right. It's rather a calling card of his. But don't worry about that right now.
Sorry, you say weakly. Of all the times, all the places, all the people this could have happened in front of, it has to be this, in the middle of a mission.
You're not the one who needs to be sorry, Andrew says, then under his breath. What did those bastards do to you?
I was captured, and you say hesitantly. Before you can try and put the rest into words, 100 shakes his head.
I meant the agency. Let me guess. Psych profile was marginal, but you don't want to lose a valuable asset unless you're sure it's beyond use, so they throw you in the deep end, see if you drown. There's unmistakable bitterness in his usually oh so carefully controlled voice. You're aware your mouth is hanging open.
Fine, you say, and at his raised eyebrow amend that blatant lie to, I was. Look, I've never had an attack that bad. I was getting it under control. For a few moments he regards you silently, steadily.
There's no point pushing yourself until you break, he says eventually. You could ask for leave. Get help.
No, you say. I already had to spend too much time out of action. If they think I'm a basket case, that will be the end of my career. Please, don't make a report on this.
Why do you want to stay so badly? He says gently.
I think I wouldn't be able to live with myself, or I'm not letting this beat me. What do we reckon? What's higher for us? Justice or ambition?
I think it's ambition.
Ambition? Okay. I'm not letting this beat me. I know I can do better. That's a very unhealthy way to react to trauma, yeah. I'm gonna say. Like 180 is not supposed to be like a reliable narrator here.
Admirable, but he trails off, shaking his head. Right at the moment we need all hands on deck, so I won't say a word. But when this is over, at least think about it, will you? It's not weakness to know where your limits are. He gives a small grim laugh. It's probably sanity.
Okay, I will, I say, just to get him to stop talking about this.
Right, he says, and he's suddenly all business again. You sense he's relieved to be changing the subject. Well, you stay here for a moment. I'm going to take a look around in there. Might find some clue.
You nod, and as he leaves, you let your head slump back against the wall. What a mess. The dreams, well, everyone has nightmares, right? It's not like that meant you couldn't cope, but hang on. There's a trail of fresh plaster running across the ceiling. A hasty repair job, looks like, from installation of a cable or pipe. The trail leads to the ceiling-mounted sprinkler, and then off to the next one. You trace the line back up the other way and see that it leads down the wall and towards a maintenance cupboard. You get up off the floor. The lock on the cupboard is pitiful. You're able to force the door open and stare in dawning horror at what lies inside.
Ce n'est pas un pipe.
Dim light shines off the rounded shapes of several canisters of liquid kerosene. On the floor, in a rat's nest of wires, is a flat, boxy contraption. Your eye is immediately drawn to a digital timer on top of the device, where the numbers 100 glow red. 100, you call. You need to see this. There is a phone wired into the device. You learn this when the screen lights up with an incoming call. There is a soft beep from the timer, and the number switches to 059. There is a series of clicks, and the canisters rattle slightly. There is a sound above you, very much like the sound of the sprinkler system about to engage, and you have a moment to think, oh shit. Then it starts raining kerosene. The timer is still counting down. 56, 55. Two-part trap. Soak the place in accelerant, then light it up. Neat. You'd be impressed by the ingenuity if you weren't being currently doused in pungent, flammable liquid. You throw your arms up, trying to shield your face, but the chemical stench alone makes your eyes sting and your head swim. Of course, that's going to be the absolute least of your worries if you're in this building when the thing goes off. 100 grabs your arm.
The guard, where did he go? We need to make sure he got out.
No, I need you to help while I defuse the device.
You're gonna let him die?
Well, if we defuse it, no
Okay.
one will die.
Yeah.
The timer is into the 40s now, continuing its merciless descent.
What do you need?
Tools and some shelter from the spray. 100 dumps the toolbox from the lab next to you, then takes off his own jacket and holds it over your head, using it and his own body to shield you as you kneel before the device. You already have the X-ray specs out, now you turn them on and the scene before you becomes ghostly. The internal workings of the device are clearly visible. The timer reads 0:32. You crack open the casing. Glance over the maze of wires inside. Right. Detonator here, nestled in a small amount of plastic explosive. Connection to the timer here. Connection to the tanks here. Trigger here, connected to the phone. Okay, so just disconnect them. You force your hands to still, millimeters from the wires, as you notice the secondary trigger. 0:25. You wipe some mixture of sweat and kerosene from your forehead. Okay. Cut one trigger and the other will activate. You'll need to create a bypass. 20 seconds. Find a spare length of wire, cut to size. Carefully, feed it into the nest. 10 seconds. Exposed wire to exposed wire, twist, make sure it holds. 5 seconds. Take a deep breath. 4 seconds. Cut. The timer goes blank. For a long while, you stare at it, wondering if you are about to die. Apparently not. The air leaves your lungs in a rush. You hear 100 sigh as well, and he squeezes your shoulder. As the fuel canisters run low, the spray from the ceiling starts to sputter and die out. Little comfort as you and everything else are already soaked. I need a nap now.
Achievement, clever wire.
Yay!
Use a trap in dangerous situation.
That's one of the hardest achievements to get.
It was worth all those other failures.
Yeah. In the wake of that intense focus comes an exhaustion so profound you feel you could just curl up on the floor and pass out. But probably best not to do it here and suffocate on chemical fumes. You should get out of here.
Achievement still standing. Avoid a trap.
The night air of Chicago is neither quiet nor particularly fragrant, but after the scene you just encountered, it seems like an oasis of tranquility. You strip to your underwear, throwing away the kerosene-soaked clothes. 100 rummages in the car and find some bottles of water and a blanket, and you take some turns trying to wash the chemical away from each other's faces. That's about as much as you can do here, so you get into the car and start the drive back to the safe house. The drive back is silent at first. Exhaustion washes over you as the adrenaline recedes. After your panic attack and then the terror of the trap, you could almost fall asleep right now, possible chemical burns or not. But one thing nags at you even more than your need for a shower and a bed. They knew, didn't they? You say. They wouldn't have had you working some smuggling job. The agency knew that Faustus was here, or they suspected. Hundred keeps his eyes on the road.
You're right, he says calmly. At least I was here to investigate the rumour. No one knew for certain, not until today.
But this ties directly into my case. What possible reason was there not for letting me know about this?
There wasn't any clear evidence of a link between the cases.
Oh, please, you snap. Atkinson and Faustus both worked at the Ilias Foundation. There had to be at least a suspicion of a connection.
He glances sideways at you. I'm sure there was. There's a wry curve to his mouth, but you think you see something like anger in the set of his jaw. I will say, I thought it was a damned stupid idea from the start, and if it had been up to me, I'd have told you everything. But to someone, it must have seemed like a suitable additional challenge for the assessment.
Another test.
You've got personal involvement when it comes to him. The idea, as I understand it, was to make you aware of the rumour and see if that would affect your performance, or if you'd be able to rise above it. Bet they weren't expecting it to happen like this. Looking over at you again, he softened slightly. I am sure they didn't see the situation being this bad. Even I thought this was a snipe hunt at first.
I don't know. What do you reckon, Jess? First.
This stupid game with the agencies may have completely screwed our mission. Fuck the agency.
Yeah.
Fuck 'em.
If you'd known all this earlier, you'd have done things a lot differently. Maybe you'd have been able to find this lab before everyone left. Now, well, what happens now? You can see a few options, the one that 313 must be discussing with the agency right now. Fastus is a valuable asset for Diablo, up until now, anyway, and removing him from the playing field is bound to be a priority for your side. So it's possible that they'll issue you a kill order. The fact that this Azazel seems to want that to happen just can't be helped. Perhaps they'll try for capture instead. It might just be possible to get him legally for the Arkwright Tower attack. Keeping him imprisoned and alive until a trial would not be an enviable task, though. Diablo takes an extremely dim view of snitches.
Okay, what are these options?
This is all like vengeance, justice stuff.
Let's have a looky-loo. Well, we are more justice orientated.
And that will be the more difficult option. Third one.
Okay.
But you're getting ahead of yourself. There's the whole mind control thing to deal with first. The car pulls over on the street of grey concrete apartment blocks, and Hunter gets out, heading straight for the front entrance of 313th block. You follow him inside.
Sorry, it's just his letterbox is like out in the corridor, and I'm like, whew, this is stinky cat poop. Whew.
You spend some time in the shower scrubbing your skin raw. You think you've got most of the stuff off, but the smell lingers.
Like cat poop.
Now while 100 has his turn, you lurk in the kitchen thinking,
I'll join him. Bow, bow, bow.
Gross. This might be the last chance you have to have a conversation you'd rather not be overheard. You've still got that phone Angel gave you. The agency isn't telling you the truth these days, but there's someone else who might give you, if not the truth, at least a different perspective. Although if you stay inside, you can have a little talk with 313.
I call Angel for information and stuff, and not because I find him compelling in any way.
Alright. You tell 100 to go in without you, that you're just going to walk around the block, check the perimeter. Recalling 313's street screens of security footage, you judge there's a camera blind spot if you stand in just the right position. Standing there alone on the street corner, you take out the earbuds and peel off the throat mic. The phone Angel gave you is heavy in your hand as you switch it on. There's only one number programmed into contacts. He answers on the second ring.
That was quicker than I was expecting. Says Angel by way of greeting.
This isn't me agreeing to anything, you say quickly. There's just a few things I want to get more detail on.
Why are you whispering? He sounds amused.
You're unable to resist the urge to glance over your shoulder. This is off the record.
Well, aren't you a bad girl? He practically purrs down the line. I felt bad saying that to you.
You're being awfully friendly considering I foiled your plan.
Why wouldn't I be friendly? Aren't we on the same side now? Seems like it was a good thing those idiots didn't manage to kill you. I'll admit, I have low expectations of people in general, and most of the time they live right down to them. You seem to be a little more interesting than I thought. I'm curious to see if you can keep it up. Maybe the real question is whether you can keep up with me.
Yeah.
Very interesting. But don't make challenges you can't win, Isabella.
I never do. But fun as this is, I really did want to talk to you about something. You pause, thinking about what you want to say, conscious that you'll need to go back inside very soon. So, you say, not saying I'm considering anything, but what would be in it for me if I did things the way you wanted?
Isabella, are you telling me that the warm, fuzzy glow of doing good isn't enough for you? Angel says, darkly delighted. Well, Azazel's reasonable. I'm sure a favour could be arranged.
And I'm supposed to trust that? The vague promise of a favour?
Isabella. Very suddenly, any levity has gone from Angel's voice. If you believe nothing else I ever say to you, believe me that you don't make it far in this world by not giving people what they're owed, good or bad. If Azazel promises you a favour, you can take that to the bank.
Why do you work for Diablo?
Because they pay me, Angel replies bluntly.
So that lets you justify what you have to do for them.
Let me clarify, sweetheart. They pay me a lot.
I still think it's despicable.
What? That seems overly harsh, but okay.
Oh, we should have said stop calling me sweetheart. Oh well.
Sorry. This is you wrote this. You should tell me the right ones every time.
I'm trying to tank our respect score because then a special thing happens. You've got to make him think we're dumb.
Okay, come on. I am twice sleepy.
Okay. You can't have any illusions about what Diablo does, what they enable. You'd be part of that for money. How do you even sleep at night?
You're judgmental for someone who does pretty much the same job I do.
I work to stop people like you.
Do you really believe that? He says, mocking. Does that make you feel better?
I have to go, you say, and hang up.
Right. What's this stat? It is okay. Oh god, how much longer?
A gust of wind chases a plastic bag down the street. As night falls, the sky is a dim orange, the lights of the city reflecting from a gathering layer of cloud. You hunch your shoulders against the chill and head into the building. On the way up in the rickety cage elevator, your phone rings. Vicky.
Are all our dates going to call us?
No.
Oh my god.
I don't have time to talk right now, you say.
I know you're busy, but listen to this. You know you told me to go back to the coma patient, Elliot Carter. I talked to his family. I think they've been paid off. They really didn't want to talk, but I did get a call back from his brother, and he told me that when Elliot came back, he had this new scar on his back, like something had been removed. She sounds triumphant. Sounds like anything we know about.
Okay, thanks.
What's wrong? She says. You don't sound so good.
No, I'm not.
Oh my god. I'm sorry, she says. You're not still in the complex, are you? Are you going to be coming back?
I think so, but I'll see you when I see you. I've got to go. You hang up and sigh. 313 is standing in front of her desk, solemn as a funeral. The room is silent but for the whine of computer fans.
I have Agent 400 on the line, she says. Agent 180, Agent 100.
The head of research's husky voice comes over the speakers, and she too is all seriousness. It's painfully early in the morning in Paris, and you'd bet that she hasn't slept yet.
I have been going over the records of Faustus's work with the Ilios Foundation. There is indeed evidence that he was interested in the research of certain chemical compounds and brain interfaces that would put a person into a suggestible state. To the best of our knowledge, he did not have much practical success, but of course the technology has advanced since then. Without a specimen of the implant to analyze, I have to say I can only theorize, but the concept that the Aegis could be used in such a way as you describe, it is not implausible. Thank you, Agent 400, 313 says quietly. I've spoken to Control, and the priority level of this mission has been raised in light of Diablo involvement.
And, you add, we have proof of Faustus's presence, a high priority target.
It gets even worse, 313 says with a sigh. You left the party before it happened, but I got a news alert while you were out. Hercules made an announcement. There's going to be a limited early launch of the Aegis to a hand-picked group of influencers. It's kind of like in Kingsman. High-profile individuals, including several politicians and business figures.
A prickle runs down your spine. Useful sleeper agents. When's this happening?
They start moving the implants tomorrow.
313 takes a visibly deep breath. 100 shifts in his seat. You feel a shiver of anticipation. So we have to move now. I see you shiver in anticipation.
I have your orders from the director, says 313, as follows. Faustus is your #1 priority. It's his plan for the Aegis, and he can't be allowed to funnel this technology to Diablo or to use it himself. However, he is a valuable source of information on Diablo workings and their technology level, and his biotech expertise is unique. The director believes that this knowledge could be an asset for the agency, and for that reason, he's to be captured alive.
You know what that means? They're pulling a Nazi rocket scientist deal on him.
Oh, yeah.
You don't mistrust a valuable asset if you can help it. If they actually want to use him, they'll disappear him. Cut some kind of deal so he'll cough up secrets, put him to work. He'll never face court or prison. He'll never truly pay for the horrors he's committed. I don't think I trust the agency with that tech.
Any more than I do Diablo. Oh, thank God.
You wouldn't really trust anyone with mind control technology, but the agency definitely comes low on that list.
You are also to discover how they control the Aegis and if there's any way to neutralize it. Hercules is to be detained if at all possible, but Faustus is more important. If you have a choice between the two, go for Faustus.
What about Angel, you ask? He's a Diablo agent, surely a priority target.
Normally, but given the situation here, they didn't even mention him. I wouldn't try it, 180. By your own report, Angel's dangerous. That's a mission all on its own, and you've got enough to do right now.
We're hitting the Hanson complex tonight.
Not tonight. It's bedtime for Jess.
It is bedtime. Yeah.
Bedtime for Jess. We've been doing this for almost 3 hours.
You might have to split this into 2 videos.
So thank you for everyone for coming and sitting with us, enjoying our performances. We will be back next week with, I think, the final chapters, maybe, depending how that goes, depending how long they are. And I thought I could never stop writing. I write the longest, I thought. And then I read this out loud, and it seems so much less long when I read it rather than performed it. But we will be back next week. Any goodbye from you?
I've lost my voice.
Okay. Well, it's goodbye from me. It would be goodbye from her if she hadn't stopped talking. I started talking things, voices.
Me.
So we will see you next week, guys.